What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one, the only, Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's happening today, man?
Hot news, but I can tell you're not feeling so hot yourself.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, my boys are here on the weekend, and all they did was blow their nose, and we all, it's just now right through the whole house. We got nailed. Yeah, so apologies. I am a little under the weather. We're gonna fight through it today.
You got to give me a solid snake line before the end of the show.
Yo, dude. So I took Buckley's right before the show. Have you ever taken this stuff? It is awful.
I have only in times of emergency.
Man, I'm like, okay, so I've been coughing like crazy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a shot of this and see if I can maybe help clear me a little bit. But yeah, we'll fight through it today. But everybody can hang out with us over at 11 a.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/theofficial ITG and over on YouTube at ITG Reviews. But if you can't hit us up live, hit us up later inside the game.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, I feel like I hear two of me today. It's giving me one of those days, man. I'm like muffled, but yet in the background. It's I feel like my eyes are half open. Yeah, we'll fight through it today. But EA teases.
I feel that one.
4 new games for 2023. Will we get Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 next year? We'll find out. Rumors are starting about more delays. This time is Hogwarts Legacy. And after 30 years, Scott, after 30 years, EA will finally drop the FIFA brand to create their own. I put football title, but I really want to say soccer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to brand it as soccer, but
no, they're not. No, it's I know that's the football. Shout out to Steve, all the way from jolly old England. EA teases 4 games in 2023, including a brand new remake, a major IP, and we'll see what happens with the future of that. This comes from Rebecca Valentine over at IGN. Electronic Arts offered its investors a sneak peek at what it's cooking for 2023 yesterday during its earnings report, including a planned major IP. Ooh, dude, that's cool. As well as an unannounced remake. Scott, we do know as of right now, the remake for Dead Space is in development over there at EA, right? But an unannounced remake. Any ideas?
What could that be? I'm really not sure unless they're going to pull one of the old Battlefields out of the closet, but that would be like an emergency putting out the fires kind of maneuver.
No, for sure. A slide on EA's Q4 2022 earnings presentation gives a look at its next 4 months of releases, with F1 2022 in Q1, FIFA and Madden NFL in Q2, and Need for Speed and NHL in Q3. In Q4, which covers January through March in 2023, we get one named franchise, PGA Tour, but we also see 4 big enticing unknowns. First, major IP, a partnered title, a remake, and a sports title. Scott, it's not clear now exactly what any of these 4 are. The remake invokes thoughts of the known Dead Space remake, but it's unlikely that this is the case. EA both mentioned in a footnote that all 4 games, quote, have not yet been publicly disclosed, end quote. And this kind of gets us, okay, well, if they remade Dead Space, right? That's what they're working on right now. Something else is unofficial that's on the way, Scott. That's pretty exciting. We'll see what happens there. So we'll see what happens when we get to the second remake of 2023. For the major IP, it's possible we're looking at the next Dragon Age or a Mass Effect game, both of which are currently in development, but haven't yet been fully blown public announcements with titles and fanfare. It's worth noting that the following slide EA lists, quote, new studios, end quote, in the Seattle area that are working on unannounced open world action adventure games, which is another possible candidate for whatever this is. Plus, Motive has an unannounced IP under its banner alongside Dead Space. Scott, a lot happening right now over at EA.
Yeah, that's for sure. An open world adventure game, that kind of discludes any of the Need for Speeds.
Yes, I would.
They're not quite. Well, it's racing action, but I don't think that fits what they're saying here.
No, not at all. Scott, I do wonder then if so, because really officially, Jedi Fallen Order 2 has not really been announced, right? It's been rumors, it's been leaked, it's been this, that, and the other, but it hasn't had its official announcement. Could that be the case of what their next major IP title will be?
would fit the title, major IP. That certainly would be it.
Dude, that's
But
huge.
has Respawn said anything about that officially? I thought
No,
I had seen something, but it must just be rumors churning for so long.
I think that's really what it came down to, is just rumors right now and speculations of the next. We know the next one's in development, but nothing has been officially revealed by Respawn. So is this what we're getting in 2023? Well, a lot of us were expecting 2022, in all honesty. And then it was also mentioned here in the article, but an EA Originals title. Will Joseph Ferris be back once again? They have quite the studio over there with Joseph, right? And he keeps pumping out bangers, and it's good to see. So when it comes for a partnered title, I think Joseph kind of fits that bill as well. What's next? He's always on something new. I like that he doesn't do sequels. It's always a new IP, and that's exciting too.
I have heard that there's a lot of rumors surrounding new Mass Effect.
Yeah,
And people have been
sure.
looking at voice clips, voice sound, kind of confirming that Shepard will be the protagonist, or at least present in whatever the next game is, which I think is a pretty easy bet to make. But
I think
with
so.
that kind of information coming out, it makes me wonder that really could be their major IP.
Well, that could be it as well, right? It could be the next Mass Effect, but Mass Effect, the next one's it had
I'd be
been kind of
surprised.
revealed a little bit. Yeah. You think we're a lot longer away before we get that one, like
I would think so.
2025?
Yeah. Well, because I would assume they would put it into Unreal 5 and kind of step
Yeah.
up the technology, and that I'm sure takes more than a couple of years.
Well, we saw 50% of the industry right now switching over to Unreal 5, right? But a lot of them now. What's the one we just saw? I just saw the other day. Oh man, I can't remember. It's a studio working on a survival game, a brand new one, and it looks really cool. Crap, I'm losing the name. Either way, but they were looking towards this year, and then all of a sudden they just said, "Hey, we're gonna have to delay it. We just switched the game over to Unreal Engine 5." So a lot of devs now are making that transition over, right? They want to get on the
I don't
latest tech.
understand. I'm not sure how you transfer over to Unreal 5. That feels like how could you retroactively use a hammer instead of a screwdriver? You know
Well,
what I mean? It's like the engine is what you use to make the game. I
that's
thought.
fair. But if they're on Unreal Engine 4, right? Maybe it's just a matter of, okay, we're gonna be able to run this a little bit smoother. We're gonna upres some of the textures now, right? Because Unreal Engine 4 is something like, what is it, 8 years old by now? So when you move it
Yeah, it
over
just
to
doesn't sound like it's something that you could migrate.
I don't think it'd be an easy job, dude. I don't think it'd be easy whatsoever, right? It's not a matter of just copy and paste. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
now you're going back to somewhat of the drawing board, and this is why they delayed that game. And it is driving me nuts that I can't remember what this game is. It'll come to me partway through the show, I'm sure of it. But it's a
There
brand
are
new
other
survival game.
engines still in use, though. I know
Oh yeah,
the Dead Space remake is being used with
Frostbite.
Frostbite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
and I'm not certain if that's leading edge anymore, but
Well, that's fair,
it's still in use.
dude, and it looks great, right? What does Respawn use for Jedi Fallen Order? Do you remember? I can't seem to
I
recall.
thought that was Unreal, but
Yeah.
I'm not certain.
Dude,
That
it
could have
looks
been
so good.
Frostbite.
It was cool. But let's get into some troubling concerns, Scott. As Hogwarts Legacy Insider warns of a delay. This comes from Tyler Fisher over Comic Book. Hogwarts Legacy is apparently in danger of being delayed out of 2022 and into 2023. The Harry Potter game is currently slated to release sometime this year via the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series X. Everything, buddy. That's where that one's going. There's been rumblings that the ambitious game could be delayed through to 2023 in a new report that added fuel to the speculation. The report comes way of the account NGT, one of the top sources when it comes to Hogwarts Legacy, thanks to the previous reliable leaks and reports. Over on Twitter, account NGT didn't say much about the long-awaited Harry Potter game, but they noted that, quote, at this point, a delay is early. 2023 wouldn't get. Oh man, let me start again, Scott. Quote, at this point, a delay to early 2023 wouldn't even surprise me, end quote. How much of this speculation versus inside knowledge, we don't know. It's not clear. Previously, account NGT was adamant the game was coming out this year, so clearly something has changed. Of course, the deeper we get into 2022 without a specific release date, the more likely a delay becomes. Scott, any concerns about this getting pushed
I'm really wondering as to what the issue could be, and it's hard to tell if it's
Polish.
really troubling without that. Is it
Yeah,
if it's just polished, that's kind of nothing to be concerned about there. But
sure.
is this related to JK in
Uh,
some way? That's the
right.
worst scenario, I think. But
Absolutely. I know.
or there's some real technical bug and they're kind of shooting too big.
Well,
But
if you notice, right, it's on every platform. So how do
yeah,
you make it ready for next gen, last gen, and keep pushing the game
oh,
forward, right, without having some
omitting
kind
the
of competition?
Switch.
Well, well, they just man, the Switch just isn't up to par. That's the problem. We talk about the
No.
technology moving forward, and the Switch needs that Pro model to come out so it can compete with the latest. Dude,
Oh,
I think they even drop a Pro model, and I think they're still stuck with the Xbox Series. No, sorry, the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. I don't even think they're
uh,
caught up to next gen.
it would be a very drastic jump in hardware if they are
Sure.
going to compete with this series consoles. Because yeah, you're right. It's almost like jumping one and a half
Yeah,
generations up.
pretty much. Yeah,
Well,
it's
I'm going to be spending some time on Switch Sports actually in the near future, so I'll
there
be
you
able
go.
to report: is this stressing its own technology? Has it, tripped over its own jump rope?
Yeah, but when you look at how good and how gorgeous this game looks and runs, you got to think that they're pushing the technology a little bit, right? Especially when
Oh yeah.
it comes to next gen consoles. You want to get everything for it and push the hardware as much as possible, but yet you still feel the weight of last gen kind of holding you back to some degree. And then you got to think that the Switch just isn't possible because it is so far outdated that they're not able to carry that over onto that platform, which is unfortunate for a lot of Switch owners because, dude, can you imagine using the Joy-Cons to play Harry Potter, to play Hogwarts
Oh,
Legacy?
there's a million possibilities. Spells you could be doing, different hand signs.
Absolutely.
Oh, man, that would be a great idea.
It would be
It's
fantastic.
unfortunate that they're getting left behind, but come on,
Yeah.
Nintendo. I have faith. You can keep up.
Well, absolutely. Dude, what about a Harry Potter game in VR?
Oh, that's another good one. Oh, we played that one spellcasting game in VR, and that makes me think that that would be a good time.
It's possible, right? I think that make a lot of sense. It'd be a ton of fun. I know a lot of a lot of outlets aren't covering Hogwarts due to JK's involvement or stances on a
Mm.
bunch of things, which is unfortunate. But on our side, when we take a look at it, the people that are developing it are the ones that we're concerned about, the ones that we care about, and the amount of
Yeah.
hard work that they're putting into this game is something that we want to see come and make the light of day, and hopefully it goes well. And of course, if we can get a copy of the game, we will let you know how that goes. But dude, everything we've seen, Scott, I'm pretty pumped, man. Like
Oh, it makes me excited. Yeah.
we've been so long though without a Harry Potter game that it's like we're well overdue for something. It's just
I'm still
man.
I'm still hoping for Quidditch.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of sports games, sort of. EA Sports FC is the future of interactive football. To football fans everywhere, I want to start by thanking this incredible community of more than 150 million fans for helping build the world's biggest football entertainment platform, EA Sports FIFA. After nearly 30 years of creating genre-defining interactive football experiences, we will soon begin an exciting new era. Next year, EA Sports FC will become the future of football from EA Sports, alongside our 300 plus licensed partners across the sport. We're ready to take global football experiences to new heights on behalf of all football fans around the world. Everything you love about our games will be a part of EA Sports FC. The same great experience, modes, leagues, tournaments, clubs, and athletes will be there. Ultimate Team, Career Mode, Pro Clubs, and Volta Football will all be there. Our unique licensing portfolio with more than 19,000 plus players, 700 plus teams, 100 plus stadiums, and 30 leagues that we've continued to invest in for decades will still be there. Uniquely in EA Sports FC. Scott, the big focus there of letting everybody know, hey, if you've been following and playing FIFA for a while, we're not getting rid of any of that. They're just dropping the FIFA brand.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like they're very serious about, well, we're keeping all of the things you're familiar with, all those
Yeah.
arenas. They didn't spend a cajillion dollars just to throw that out this year.
Well, it's funny because you know what they did spend every year. Well, so they pay by every 4 years, $1 billion to carry that FIFA brand,
Holy.
right? So Andrew Wilson is like, I don't believe we need that FIFA brand. We have He says the game is now bigger than the actual brand. We'll be able
Oh,
to push our those are his words, right?
those
He
are some
believes
strong words.
absolutely.
Usually precursing somebody falling on their own sword, but
Yeah.
I don't
And,
want to see that happen in this series though. They have a point. You know, they've built this big long
yeah.
hold on the FIFA, the soccer brand, so they will stand alone and be successful. But how successful? That really is the question.
Well, it's funny because we don't quite know, but we'll see as FIFA will develop its own games to rival EA Sports FC. Scott, we'll continue next in the next article as well. This one comes from David over at PSU. After EA announced it had officially cut ties with FIFA and that its all football simulation games after FIFA 23 would be called EA Sports FC. It appears that FIFA intends to develop its own football games to compete with EA. I find this pretty funny, actually. In fact, there are already titles in production with undisclosed third-party publishers and developers. FIFA will start with non-simulation titles, which really, dude, FIFA.
That seems like an odd way to start off. Yeah, I thought FIFA would be the sim.
Well, that's just it, which could potentially mean the first licensed arcade-style football game in years is on the horizon. FIFA does intend to make simulation games as well, though its first one will have to wait until 2024. As EA still holds exclusive rights to develop simulation games through 2023, which makes a lot of sense. So moving forward, you'll get 2023, and then FIFA 2024, 25, and 26 will be kind of following in succession as it goes on. But Scott, FIFA not to be outdone by EA and says, no, we're going to carry our brand. Who do you think that they get for developers, though? Who wants to go up against EA and say, hey, we're going to hit you with the old school of FIFA Street back in the day? You remember that game?
I don't think Konami's going to carry this one.
Dude, they did. Was it?
They're the only ones that
right?
they're the only people that I know of that has competed with EA at some level.
No, absolutely. You think 2K will take a shot at it because you had back in the day? 2K right now owns just the NBA side of things, but they had football to compete as well. And at one point, they actually had MLB. And now you see everybody kind of separate a little bit. EA has football. They have NHL. You have 2K who has the NBA series. And then you've got Sony over there with San Diego Studios running MLB. Nobody has competition, dude. That's the biggest thing. Everybody they own hockey over here and they own football. That's EA. Then they own basketball over here for 2K. And then baseball is over there with PlayStation. But nobody has any competition to go up against them. I kind of find this kind of a little bit enlightening to see that we're actually going to have such a competition maybe go back and forth because FIFA doesn't want to lose out. They had been making so much money with EA as of recently, and EA is like, we're done paying you $1 billion for every 4 years just so we can carry the FIFA brand. So
well,
exciting
somebody may pay that price.
Yeah,
if they shop it around. I think 2K is the most likely candidate. They have experience in that field. And that's more than a lot of other developers can say.
Well, that's just it. Who else do you give it to, right? Everybody else is so invested in their own sports. And then you lost EA because now FIFA wants to go on their own. But everybody else, and when it comes to the sports games, don't really do anything else anymore. So there's no real competition to go back and forth. For the first time in years, dude, you're actually going to see two football games go head to head and see who wins. I'm definitely curious to see when that comes around in, was it 2024? And how that looks for the simulation series. Now, granted, I'm not a football player whatsoever, but a good friend, Eddie Player One, is. So I'll be reaching out to him and say, hey, which one is better? How does this work out? Which do you feel is the way to go? I think a lot of people are still want to go with EA. EA's developed this game for so long. 30 years, man. 30 years, Scott. To cut those ties?
If FIFA can make a competitor without all of the loot box mechanics and stuff, that might be really interesting to see, because then EA would have to respond and shuffle up their formula that they've come up with in the last 30 years.
Absolutely. Scott, we're still continuing on with more EA conversation as Dead Space Remake livestream is coming tomorrow.
Yes, I am going to be setting an alarm for that one.
This is Eddie McCooch over at GameSpot. EA has announced his upcoming developer live stream for the Dead Space remake. Developer Motive Studio will host a video broadcast this Thursday, May 12th, during which the studio will talk about the game's art. Yo, I love art, but too bad it's creepy because I can't do it then. I'm not going to be around for that one, man. That's just, woo! But
don't worry, I got this one.
yeah, so that's obviously okay. Biggest thing here is the broadcast begins at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, May 12th. So make sure you stick around for that. The new Dead Space is not a reboot or a remaster. It's a remake, Scott. How do you feel about reboot, remaster, and remakes?
I like the idea of a remake because there's a lot more technologically you could put into the game at this point.
Sure.
Because I think Dead Space, it must be 15 years old. It
I'm
seems quite older now.
On it.
It's probably more like 10, but
yeah, let me take a look. 2008.
Okay. Yeah, I'm close.
Right. That's not bad. It's definitely been a while. That's for sure. I like the idea of so what do you call this then? It's a remake where everything has been rebuilt from the ground up. I like that. We've seen reboots, we've seen remasters. I'm not the biggest fan of a remaster when it's kind of just more or less ported over. You know what I mean? We've seen a lot of that.
There's very few cases where that's all that's necessary. Yeah, usually you want to see a little bit of tweak, but
no, for sure. EA says the new remake will be, quote, respectful of the original. Quote, it's being fully rebuilt in Frostbite. There's their engine, right? Over at EA. A lot of studios use that Frostbite engine, the studio has said, with all new assets, new character models, new environments, even though we're basing those on the original design. Dude, they're making this game from the ground up, right? I think that's the exciting part. If you are a Dead Space fan, you may have played the game before, but you're now playing it in the next generation, that you're going to experience this game almost somewhat for like the first time again.
I cannot wait. That sounds like a perfect release for me. I love the horror games. I like the action blend that Dead Space brings. And it was the first game. I always think of this every single time I think of Dead Space. First time I had surround sound headphones on.
Ooh.
And I could hear people crying in the rooms next door. I could hear nails on the doors that were locked shut. I thought, it was something that really settled in where I was so creeped out that I had to keep playing. Otherwise, it would overwhelm me.
Oh, that's just, man, that is so creepy.
I had the fight or flight response and stuck to fight.
Wow. It was originally expected to release this year, Scott. However, it has been slated for early 2023. So you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that to come out. But I think at this point, if you already played it, you kind of know what you're in for, and you just want them to take their time and make sure it's perfect, right? Release it so that everybody goes, this is the game we want from what we experienced before over in the world of next gen. I think that's very exciting. Dude, I wish, you know what? This is the biggest thing for me. I miss out on so many amazing games because I can't do the horror stuff, and it's just disappointing.
Even some really light stuff like BioShock.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's just got this creepy little edge to it, and I'm like, I don't like the tension it brings. Right?
If you ever want to keep Drew away from the door, just put a pumpkin out on the doorstep.
Oh, man. Well, yeah. Halloween, not my favorite holiday. I'm gonna be honest. That one's not for me. Halloween comes around every year, and everybody's like, it's my favorite. I'm like, no. That's when more horror games than anything comes out.
You're like, yep, and just sit down to another round of MLB.
Yep, absolutely. Play something that's nice and bright.
December.
Yes, yeah, definitely not for me. Scott, we do have a couple releases today, though, my friend. What do we have?
We have Neptunia Cross Senran Kagura, the Ninja Wars.
What?
That is on PC, PS4, and Switch. I'm not sure what Neptunia is or Senran Kagura, but it seems to be a cross between the two.
Okay.
It could be interesting.
I'm
settling into a lot of ninja stuff lately. I'll take a look.
Okay. Report back.
Source of Madness releases on PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, X, and S. We have Brigandine, The Legend of Runersia. We have a lot of silly names today. Brigandine, The Legend of Runersia.
Yeah.
And that is on PC, PS4, and Switch.
Dude, that's we do have a lot of weird ones. I think the Source of Madness actually looks pretty cool. I think that'd be my pick for today if anybody's up for that one. But Scott, that's gonna wrap up today's show. I made it. I didn't completely die, so that's good. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. You can always join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG, as well as YouTube at ITG Reviews. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see you inside the game.